Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back.
You look beautiful today. You look like wintertime. I love it.
Wintry.
Because you're wearing a turtleneck sweater and it seems very warm and safe near you. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know why. The Session with Londa and David is a business program that focuses on the three things that we are most interested in, Londa. What are those things?
Let me set my coffee down and tell you. Well, David, let me tell you what you want. No,
Hi, everybody.
we talk a lot about retail sales, restaurants, and our bread and butter real estate.
Why do we spend so much time talking about those?
Well, that they kind of drive the economy. They make the world go round. Those
Absolutely.
are the things. Everybody is affected by these three things. And, we talk a lot about how they're related too.
Right.
Right? And then we have some fun with it. The restaurant review nobody asked for. It's always a big hit. And I don't know, because everybody is involved in retail sales, restaurants, and real estate affects all of us. And yeah, I don't know what you're trying to get at there.
Well,
but
what we do, everything's kind of woven together, right?
Yeah.
You need a place to live, real estate. Everybody needs food, restaurants. It actually shouldn't just be restaurants, though. It should be groceries and food. So what we talk about really is food, fun, and the economy. That's really what we're talking about here on this show.
Okay.
The Session with Londa and David. Brought to you proudly by Home Coffee. Home Coffee, it's on the house.
You've already paid for it.
Okay, I heard an
out
awesome...
Of your bonus dad
I sure
cup.
am, because I am a bonus dad to 7 extra chickens.
Do you remember which kid gave you that? I don't remember which one.
I think it was Andrea who gave me the bonus dad cup. She did for sure give me the cup that says, Austin, best bonus dad.
Oh, then I think maybe this was Ada.
It could have been Ada.
I don't know. There's a lot to choose from.
I don't know, because gift giving isn't my love language. Time and personal touch, those are quality time and personal touch.
Physical
are more
touch.
my love languages. So I can tell you which kid I spend the most time with, but I can't tell you which kid bought me something. Except for my watch that we got from Danielle, because we got matching watches, and I thought I broke it slipping in the tub. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was horrible.
They're cute. Yeah.
They're very nice. I didn't hurt that watch when I fell in the tub, but boy, that plastic coating that they put on the watch face, gone.
Yeah.
Eviscerated.
Torn up.
Thankfully, they do put those on there, though.
Yeah.
And I just thought the watch was destroyed. It was not.
It was so funny. We took it to a jeweler or watch.
Yep.
A watch.
Repair company.
Repair, thank you.
Watch repair is what it says on the front of the building. I didn't know what they were talking about, though, because they had on their COVID masks 2 years after COVID. And I can't. I have to kind of read lips in addition to listening to get context clues on what someone's saying. So if their lips are covered, I can't hear a thing.
Which means you can't hear.
That's true.
Yeah.
Big hearing loss. Old radio guys all have hearing loss. And ironically, it's the ear that I used to wear my headphone on when I would listen to the room without a headphone, and I just had one. That's the ear that's all messed up. It's a weird deal. Okay, let's get off that.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? I had something I want to talk about
I have
briefly.
something I want to talk about,
you
too.
You go first.
No, you
you're
go.
way cuter, so you go first.
You go, because you said briefly.
Okay, so I heard a great story on the news this morning on my way into the office, and it talked about confidence in our economy. And the story is there's a Japanese venture capitalist firm that was at Mar-a-Lago with President-elect Trump over the weekend. They had an hour-long press conference. And during this press conference, this venture capital firm said they were going to invest $100 billion in the American economy to focus on AI and new technologies, which would create
Okay.
100,000 jobs. I thought it was a very interesting story because when's the last time you heard a political candidate not just say we created 100,000 jobs, but having the business deciders with them saying, we believe in this country, we're going to invest $100 billion and we're going to create 100,000 jobs. Normally it's the government taking credit for that, not private sector.
Yeah, and I think regardless of where you lean politically, because that's irrelevant to this conversation.
Right.
He is the president-elect, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And this is what's happening. So that's kind of what we're discussing, not how we feel about
Right. That's right.
one person.
Yeah,
or
I don't
another.
care at all about any of that. I'm
don't either. I
interested,
care-
though,
yeah.
in hearing
So-
people from foreign countries saying we are investing in this country because we believe in what's happening here.
And I believe what will happen, because those kind of conversations are happening and being broadcast in the media,
Right.
on the news outlets and
Right.
things. My hope is that Americans, by and large, begin to feel more hopeful and secure about their future economically speaking. And because that's, honestly, that's what drives our livelihood.
Sure. Consumer confidence
Yep.
drives the economy.
Yeah.
And when you see people going out and spending billions of dollars on Black Friday and Cyber Monday,
Dude, those numbers blew my mind.
you understand that consumer confidence is coming back. And when that happens, good stuff starts to happen in the economy.
Right.
You can listen to economists all day long talking about how high the stock market is. And, you can also read stories about the gaps in wealth and how a tiny number of people hold the majority of the wealth in the
Sure.
country. What's important, though, to most people is whether or not they can afford the goods and the services they require for their lives.
Right.
And if you're spending billions of dollars on Black Friday and Cyber Monday and then spending billions of dollars in restaurants and bars, there's some discretionary income that people aren't talking about. And
Right.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I wanted to talk about. What do you want to talk about?
Well, kind of this idea of, we're in mid-December. We're kind of wrapping up 2024. We're headed into the new year, and we start to think about new year, new me, goals
Sure.
for the year. I know a lot of companies are doing their year-end wrap parties. They're doing New Year vision casting kind of workshops and gatherings and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And we've been talking a lot about our future and what we want to do with it. And I want to kind of dive into that a little bit today,
Okay.
if you're okay with it.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, awesome. So I want to start by saying this, and I say it every year. If you follow me on social media, you've already seen my posting about this is the time of year we start to see everybody's highlight reels for the year, right? You see like, this year was the best year. It's like Dear Diary.
Okay.
Dear Diary, it was the best year ever, right? and they post these things, and I love reading those because yes, I want to celebrate with everybody that's had success this year.
Sure.
And my post that I make every year about this time is, this is your annual reminder that surviving is a success too.
I gotcha.
We see those highlight reels, and I know that some people had really great years, and it was the best year that they could have imagined. And some people had really bad years, and it was the worst year that they never imagined. And so I think being sensitive to that and saying, if you're listening to this, that surviving the year is a highlight as well.
Sure.
It's a success as well. Getting through is also something to be celebrated. And depending on your year, good for you that you made it. So that's just something that I want to say because, not every year is awesome.
I gotcha. Not every year's a home run. Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And, things happen. I mean, because we live life, we lose people, and we get, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Not everybody kept their job this year. Not everybody kept their house this year. You know what I mean? So all those kind of things. That's one thing I wanted to say. Like, good job if you made it. If you're one of those people that's hanging on by a thread and you just barely made it this year, I'm proud of you. And, you can only go up from here. Right?
I gotcha. Yeah.
So, the other thing too is if you had any kind of improvement in your health this year, congratulations. What I mean by that is maybe you have healthier relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have a healthier workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have healthier habits. Maybe you have healthier mental processes. If you did anything to make your life healthier this year in any way at all, then kudos to you.
Okay.
Because those aren't necessarily tangible things that you can write in a social media post.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
Like, I didn't drive off a cliff this year. Happy 2024. Like, you never see that, right? But if that's your story, I'm proud of you for making it.
Sure.
So, yeah, because I feel like I made some really healthy decisions this year.
Mm-hmm.
I feel much healthier than I've felt in a long time, and the things that got me here are not things you put in a pretty social media post.
Yeah, I don't know what the true measure of success is for everyone.
Well, it's individual, isn't it?
That's exactly right. A lot of people think it's your bank account.
We decide.
A lot of people think it's their hierarchy at work. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think it's awards they may or may not have won. I personally, and you've known this about me for a while, I'm personally most excited about connections and relationships that I've formed. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think of this year as a very successful year because I've got some really deep new relationships that I've formed. And being back here in the Pacific Northwest, I've been able to rekindle some long-term relationships that I've had that haven't been as active because we've been gone for 3 years.
Right.
So I think I measure success with how my relationships are going. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, I am loving where I am in my sphere right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm playing a little more music. I'm involved in the community band. I've got a brass ensemble that I regularly play with. I often sing in the church choir. I'm more of a special guest when I do that, though, because I can't commit to the weekly nighttime rehearsal because it's long. I can't do that. But I can sure go when I'm needed to be there,
right, and
sit down and sing the music with everybody. You know what I mean?
I do.
That has been where I think I've been most successful this year. Mm-hmm. Business has been great. I don't consider business success as my success, though. And I think the way I've engineered my life to spend 92% of my time with you has been wildly successful, off the rails, spectacular for me. I don't know how it works for you. It works great for me, though.
No, it works great for me.
I love it.
Or I would do something different.
Yeah. So as we angle to the new year, I think it's both important to relish personal successes, learn from personal setbacks, and that could be business, that could be in your relationships, that could be with your kids, any kind of relational or business setbacks you may have, you want to learn from.
Right.
So relish your successes and learn from the bumps in the road that you've hit and get ready to do it better or with more purpose. That's what you should be thinking about this time of year in terms of planning for your future successes, I think. How about you?
I'm not a goal. So I don't do goals the way people traditionally do goals. In fact, I have a workshop that I teach that's goal setting for people who hate goal setting.
Okay.
Is what it's called. And if you're listening to this and you're interested in that, it's a 3-hour workshop. It's $1,500. I'll train your team and you'll have better success than you have with any other traditional goal setting thing. I think. So you can get in touch with me if you're interested in that. I don't have a lot of...
Londa at SherwoodAustin.com. That's Londa at SherwoodAustin.com.
Sure.
And enjoy while there, home coffee. It's on the house.
Yeah. I could probably squeeze in 3 of those over the next, 30 days.
Okay.
But that's it. So, but anyway, I approach it very differently than most people do.
Okay.
So, you go to, think about like a goal setting vision board night that you've been to, right? And they've got maybe the magazines, and you cut words out or you cut out pictures.
Sure, and you make a collage.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And then you have the board that and maybe you also make some statements on the board, and these are the things that are going to guide you through the next year. That is not what I do.
I wonder what P. Diddy's vision board looked like 20 years ago.
I mean, way to bring the room to
you
a
told me to be
screeching
funnier.
halt.
So I'm using current events.
I don't want to know. What? No, I said let your natural. I didn't say be funnier. I said you're funny. You need to show people more of that because it's hilarious. Sure. That, however, was like a little shocking.
I think that was funny.
I don't want to know. Anyway, so, you can put all the things on paper and put the thing up in front of you, and that works for some very few personality types. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with vision night or whatever you call it at your office or in your home or whatever group you have. That's the problem with it, is that it only works for one personality type. So the way that I do it, we have different ways of approaching it for all the different personality types. Sure. So that it actually works. So for me, even though my personality is, I'm a power personality, mm-hmm. a driver, right? And I'm an Enneagram 8. So that's everything you ever need to know about me. So based on those things, I should be very motivated by money mm-hmm. and power mm-hmm. and control. And those vision boards should work for me.
Okay.
They don't. So that's the other thing, is people are more complicated than what we give them credit for, right? I'm not motivated by any of those things, right? So that's part of my workshop, is figuring out what does motivate you. Because if you don't know the using this kind of word picture, if you don't know the right bait to put on the hook, mm-hmm. then you're not going to catch what you're hoping to catch.
Sure.
And that goes for ourselves too.
Yeah.
So for me, it always comes back more to mindset. And so I want to focus on, for this next year, my goal, if you will, is to kind of recapture some of that. It's almost like childlike wonder, mm-hmm. right? And the hopefulness of everything is possible and anything is possible and everything goes my way and everybody likes me, and kind of recapturing that, because I've been through some stuff,
Gotcha.
I've been through some stuff that's been kind of hard and kind of sad and kind of demotivating, right? In my own brain. So for me...
Are we talking specifically in the last year or ever?
Just the last few years, how I've kind of almost lost a little bit of my sparkle.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean now.
And so my goal is to get my sparkle back.
Okay.
Right? And I do that by focusing on what happens in here. The words that I say to myself, about other people, about work, about everything. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that's really different. That's not something you put on a vision board. That's something you put in the reps every day, right?
Like the saying, if you don't like the conversation, change the conversation. And you're changing the internal conversation.
I don't like the conversation that has been happening in my head about, about how hard things are. And so, so that's some of my goal for 2025. Well, starting now is I know how to shift that.
Right.
And so I just decide to start kind of retraining my thought processes, and everything else that I want in life will come out of that.
Sure. So when you say in your internal monologue, you think about how hard things is, what are you talking about specifically? Like money's tighter than you'd like, or
if I'm
FaceTime in front of customers is fewer and farther between than you'd like. What are we talking about?
I mean, I would like to have more business. I'll be transparent enough to say that.
Okay.
I would love to have some more business.
Mm-hmm.
I've got time for more clients, so don't hesitate to call. I'm not too busy. You know what I mean? It was a little harder reintegrating into our community than I expected it to be.
Okay.
Than I anticipated it to be, right? I realized this year a couple of things. I don't really have a niche anymore. I don't have, like in real estate, I've always had like, oh, those are my people. That's my group. That's where I put my time and my effort. And from that, I get results. And this year I realized like, oh, I don't feel like I have that. These are my people. This is my, you know what I mean? 'Cause
yes.
I don't do anything. Like I'm not social anymore. I've kind of, and some of it is because, okay.
When you say you're not social anymore, what do you mean?
Well, let me go back a little bit. So one of the things that happened while we were out of town for 3 years, and we say it a million different ways, right?
Right.
And all of it's true. We traveled for 3 years. We were kind of on vacation for 3 years. We went to set up our vacation home and then kind of accidentally moved, right? It was never the plan.
Right.
But it was necessary because I had hit severe burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Severe.
Mm-hmm.
And in kind of healing myself from that burnout, and it took a good solid 3+ years. And they say it takes 3 to 5 years. I remember studying about it and I thought, I don't have 3 to 5 years. Oh yeah, it took that long.
And you were learning about that while starting a new form of burnout, doing a morning radio show that was at an ungodly early hour.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was some of that too, but kind of almost like healed myself and protected my peace and protected my security so much to the point where I found myself with a very, very, very small circle.
I gotcha.
That's what I mean. So coming back here to Tri-Cities, I thought, oh, I'll just, step back into all the things I used to do. Well, all the things I used to do no longer serve me. It's not something I want to be involved with. Now I got to figure out, okay, so what's next? So this last year I've been kind of like, what do I do? Like I don't have the connections to social or activity groups of people that I used to have. That's what I'm trying to say. And I hope everybody's like sticking with me. If you've ever been through a big shift in your life, you know exactly what I mean.
Well, and let's be specific, okay? You homeschooled and raised a boatload of kids.
Yeah.
You were involved in groups of moms who homeschool. And that was a huge boon for a brand new realtor because those are the people actively buying houses.
Right.
So when you got into this, you were at a point in your life where that was something you were involved in for hours and hours and hours each week in front of moms who were doing the exact same thing you were doing.
Right.
You're now a grandma and you're not in front of the same groups. I think putting some context so people know why you're not in those same circles anymore makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? You were the mom coach. That was your title. You had a business and you did that.
Yeah.
You're no longer doing that. That's what you mean by not in those same circles.
Right.
You didn't burn bridges. You didn't say, F you people.
No.
But you're just not actively involved with the same groups of people. Interestingly, our daughter Danielle is in her community doing that kind of thing. Because she learned from you, and she has small children, and so she's in those mom groups.
We're talking the other day, we were FaceTiming, and she, was telling me about everything that she's doing in her community with moms and people coming to her and asking her questions and all these different things that she's forming, and and she kind of started giggling, and she goes, am I the Londa of my generation?
And the answer is yes.
And I started crying, because that's awesome. I love that she's found a place in that, because it was a very fulfilling place for me to be in for many, many, many years.
Right. I do recommend,
I do feel just a little lost.
Right.
If I'm being really honest, like that, and I can feel myself getting a little emotional. And part of it too is this year I had a huge, really uncomfortable, really painful, metaphorically slap in the face, where I had to come to terms with the idea that I am not my work.
Right.
And that was a huge thing too, because if I'm not my work and I'm not a mom.
You are a mom. You're not a mom of small kids.
I know. But if you get what I'm saying though, if I am not my work and I am not my children, is that a better way to say it?
I think so.
Then what am I? What am I? Who am I?
That's interesting.
And and we did a lot in the 3 years that we were out of this community. We did a lot, and I did explore some of those things.
Sure,
and I did this for a while, and that's not, and then maybe that, and maybe that.
Sure.
And the thing that always feels most comfortable to me, of course, is being in the real estate space. I feel most at home there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I love my work, but the other stuff, is like I'm kind of grasping, trying to figure out, okay, what's next for me?
I gotcha.
As far as like my own personal interests and involvement with people, I don't have any idea.
What I recommend, and they teach this in Ninja Selling, is you find something you love and lean into that. And I don't think the mom coach is dead. I think you could reach out to these moms who now have much older kids. They're now probably high school age, a lot of them, and find out how they're doing. You could check in with all of these people because of your genuine curiosity and their well-being. And you're going to be right back in that sphere, because everybody who's got a 16-year-old wants to know how you handled your 16-year-olds. You don't have 16-year-olds anymore, but you do have a boatload of productive children who are adults. You've got one on city council. You've
and I got to tell you, man,
trades.
Hindsight really is 20/20, because I could tell you all the things I could have, and in many ways wish I had done differently, and I've had some of those conversations. I mean, I'm still close with, a few people who are in that place, right? Their oldest kids now are older teenagers, some now into college, some now into, relationships, maybe getting engaged, that kind of thing. So they're like 10 years behind my kids, right?
Right.
So,
and that's something you can reach into. And I can tell you this.
Maybe, I don't know.
Regret has zero rate of return. There is no benefit to regret.
I don't have any.
Instead of thinking about things you might have done wrong or things that might have gone wrong.
Oh, I don't mean it as a point of regret. I just mean like it gives me really good balance, I guess, in being able to speak to like a parent now who says, the way that I would handle a situation when I had a 16-year-old, very different than the way that I would maybe encourage someone to handle it today that has a 16-year-old.
Yeah,
just because hindsight, and I've learned so much.
And in those conversations, though, you report what you did,
Sure.
and then you report what you wish you hadn't done.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's the good news, though.
I don't know.
None of the kids that either one of us have raised are bad people, are criminals, are jerks. None of them. Not
Right.
one. And that's the win right there.
Sure.
You know? And when you ask me who I know that I think's a bad person, I'd have to really take some time to figure it out because I don't think about people that way. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I think the true tally of success is your relationships, and every one of them's good. That's the success. That's the win right there.
Yeah. And I'm going to, have to take myself through my goals workshop this year.
Take the Sherwood Austin team
our
through
team
it.
will go through it. But because I got some stuff to figure out.
Right. You need as much coaching as you give to other people.
Oh, for sure.
And everybody does.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
We could make this a 4-hour show, but we're not gonna. We're not gonna do that. I'm gonna put on my headphones and start the end music because we could keep going all day, but we've got work to do.
Yes.
And we've got real estate appointments in the afternoon, so let's not do that. Here's what I can say. I really love hearing you talk about things from a vulnerable point of view. And every time you talk about how you're feeling emotional, it makes me emotional and it makes me want to cry. Mm-hmm. It does. It's important as we head toward the end of the year to not only think about our failures, but remember our successes.
That's what
if you had a conversation that made you feel 10 feet tall when you hung up the phone, think about that next time you're making a phone call. Don't think about the one where you got hung up on.
And if you don't remember it, then this year, keep a gratitude journal.
I like that. And we're going to talk about gratitude in next week's show. We spent an entire 2 weeks on our radio show about gratitude. Next week's show, we're grateful and we're talking about it.
Okay.
For Londa, Joanne, Sherwood Austin, my name's David Austin, and this has been The Session with Londa and David. We'll see you next week.